This is Kelly Schols, back with Never By the Book podcast, and back with Oly for our next episode. Last episode, we talked about his childhood and about his addiction, going to recovery. Now we're going to get a little bit more into, after recovery and moving forward in his life. So, welcome back, Oly.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
You bet. So yeah, we were talking last episode about, your childhood and your addiction, your relationship with your parents, you and I's relationship,
Right.
And now I want to talk a little bit more about, we talked about, that first year you got back painting the building and that. Let's go a little bit further on that. Once you got through that first year, because, being kind of your boss, even though your dad wouldn't let me be your boss, it's like a light bulb went off after that first year.
Right.
How was that? I mean, it's like you just...
I can't explain.
You got sober. You went through that first year of not figuring out how the hell you were going to paint the building, which, thanks, I don't remember how much money I won, but I did win some money.
It was $1. No, it was what everybody else had, too.
It was like $6 or $7 in the whole pool.
Welcome.
Yeah. So
that thing's been compounding this whole time, too. I know,
compounded out over that amount of time.
Take me out for lunch.
Okay. Deal. So, but after that first year, things kind of changed for you. Can you really
I don't know. I did get into a relationship with who's now my ex-wife, and we kind of just wanted to get things going there, and I think a lot of it had to do with confidence too.
Right.
I think, are you, doing better because you feel better? Or are you feeling better because you're doing better?
Right.
I think that kind of thing. And I started getting the opportunity to, I was out working and I was starting to feel more comfortable I started reading the code book, and I don't know what energized all this, but I just started saying I gotta freaking do this. This is this is it. I mean, I kind of screwed up school twice.
Right.
At one point, I did think that I might go into the health field for a bit, but that was really just over. And then I
mean, at this point, you still never saw yourself as being in the plumbing world, did you?
I think I thought at that point I started to think that. Yeah. I think I thought, well, if this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to be the absolute best that I can be. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, at every level, at every aspect, at every,
like I said, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it?
Well, maybe, I mean, from understanding code to, being a fast installer, to being good with customers, to, just giving somebody like the primo plumbing system. And then obviously there was, I wanted to learn hydronic heating and all that. And I just felt like it was like every day I went out onto the job, it was a chance to like prove myself. You and I
don't know if you remember this, but we had a conversation quite a few years ago, and I was asking you the kind of the same question: is what flipped the switch for you?
Yeah.
And you had told me that one day I sent you home because I didn't have work for everybody.
Yep, that is that too. Yeah,
there were other people I didn't send home.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you remember
Dave
that?
and Casey who got to work that day. Well, and I think it was that too. I mean, that was kind of a part of it, is that I'd never drawn on unemployment, ever, nor did I want to. And I got sent home and they worked, and then I got called. The second part of this is the next week there was this dig job. So these guys are, out there plumbing, learning about plumbing, and then I get sent to the dig job for a week. Oh, now we don't have anything. And so it was another week after that. And I was like, you kind of just start thinking, it's like, okay, I don't think that should go down that way ever again.
Right.
Okay. I think I'm better than both of these guys. No, I know I'm better than both of them. And I don't mean that. I'm not doing a, Deion Sanders thing here, because I really hate, I don't like people that are self-promoted.
But up to that point,
I'm thinking in my head.
But up to that point, you hadn't shown that.
Yeah.
You hadn't shown that you were better than them up to that point.
That's probably true. Yeah, no, that's a fair assessment.
But I would say for everybody that's watching or listening to this, there's something that you did at that point in your life that probably turned your life around more than or as much as anything else. And you looked at yourself in the mirror and said, what the hell am I going to do so this doesn't ever happen to me again, instead of playing a victim?
Right. No, it's all up to me.
Yeah.
No one is coming to bail me out. No one is going to do the work for me. No one's going to study or pass it, It's like the whole, nobody's going to pray about it for me.
Right.
I got to do it. And believe me, that's exactly what I did. I just became an animal. I took the code book home and I would read it every night. Mm-hmm. And then the shit that I didn't understand, the next day I would come in, and first journeyman that walked, I'd be like, hey, dude, I don't understand what this, did you kind of explain this in real life, not lawyer talk, know? And they would, and I just became passionate about it. I'm like, I'm going to be the best. And then we had that, you remember the board, right? Mm-hmm. So they had the board where it was like, okay, well, here's the star plumber that, commercial.
Top journeyman.
And then it would be like, all the commercial journeymen were like here. And then you had all the resi guys, blah, blah, blah. And then the apprentices and the commercial,
And then Oly.
And then I was like, I'm down here. I'm like, shit. So I told myself that in very short order, my name was going to be that one. And like I said, I didn't share this with any, I didn't share these things with anybody else other than myself and my wife at the time. Because I'm not trying to sound like I'm a boastful person.
No, you didn't. You never.
Because I'm not. This is all stuff in my head.
You never said a word to me.
Yeah.
But I started to see the changes in you.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, your dad had brought me in as a partner. Mm-hmm. The plan was for me to buy him out. Mm-hmm. There was never a plan for you to come into the business. No. And you knew that.
Yeah, I had felt that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't saying, son, come on, son. Right. Let's, I'll get you in here. He never,
no.
It wasn't talked about.
No. Your dad was.
I was lucky to have a job.
You were.
Really.
And we all were. And that's the way your dad was, is if you worked hard. Your dad, tough love, your dad gave tough love.
Oh, man, 100%.
But if you worked hard for him and you did things, he would help you.
He'd reward you for it.
He'd reward you for it, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that was, so I had that going for me with Dad too.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and I'm glad, like I said before, my parents, they didn't spoil me.
Right.
I was not spoiled. I did not get new bicycles and all this stuff. They were very good to me and very fair. And I'm not going to lie, as a kid, seeing all the, living in the country club, and seeing all the other, you're like, what the fuck,
yeah, that's mine, right?
Yeah, exactly. But, and being a kid, they're always resentful about something.
Right.
They're selfish shits. I was no exception. So, but yeah, just that.
So you start climbing the ladder up.
Yeah, I started climbing the ladder. And then, of course, my dad was like, I said, well, hey, what do I got to do to make more money around here? And he'd be like, well, I need somebody that has a license. Yeah. You're like, all right, well, you better sign me up because I'm taking that thing. And I remember I got my license. I came in. I didn't have the license yet. I had the letter that told me they were going to be mailing me the license. I came in and showed it to them and said, hey, I'm ready for that, raise. I don't know if you remember at this time, but a commercial journeyman plumber was at $15 an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
And a resi guy was at $12.50. That was
our scale.
Yeah. So I really was just hoping to get to the residential, hourly wage there. and which was good money then, you know.
Right.
So I showed it to him. He's like, "Oh, okay, good. Yeah, congratulations. I'm real proud of you." Next paycheck comes up.
Nothing.
It ain't on there. And I freaking lost it. I mean, I freaking absolutely lost. I literally kicked his fucking door in. I mean, literally. I mean, bam!
Yeah.
Like, where?
Yeah.
I showed you this. I've worked my ass off. You need to pay me. And oh man,
Where was I? I don't remember that.
that was when his office was in the corner or whatever.
Okay.
And so he's like, "Yeah, no, I will." He goes, He goes, and he hollered at somebody. Didn't we make that change in payroll or whatever? I was like, to me, I was mad because I felt like you should have made it happen,
Right.
you know. And then about, I don't know, it was about 6 months later, I was like, I think by now, I mean, maybe Steven might be in the womb or something, you know. I said, "Hey, I need to make more money." And he says, "Well, your residential card doesn't do shit for me." He goes, "I need commercial journeyman."
Right.
And I'm like, "All right, let's do it again." You know, signing me up. So I sign up, fortunately, the hours were a lot easier then. It was 4 and 6, not 6 and 8. You know. So I went down, passed the test, and he didn't. When I told him
He gave you the raise right away that time, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I literally, I really think I did actually kick it.
Yeah.
I mean, and walk in there and pound on the desk. I was so, but I think back then, you know, I mean, that was, those kind of outbursts, you know, for me were, I could afford it. I had
you put in the work.
I had confrontations. Well, I mean, I just did it. I was always just going off and getting, you know, pissed off or whatever.
But you did the work and you deserved it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, I just was like, "Why are you toying with me on this, man?" You know, but that was just, hey, he's a good businessman.
You said he was frugal, didn't you? He was very frugal.
100%.
Yes. Yeah. So you get your license, you get a commercial license.
Yep.
How long did it take you from going to the bottom of the board to the top of the board? It wasn't very long.
I don't know that it was like, I don't think it was even three years.
I don't think it was either.
I think it was probably 2.5 to 3 years.
And most people, that would take 4 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when you put your mind to it, you did it.
Yeah.
And
I had some, you know, little bumps along the
Right.
way. You know, I mean, I realized, you know, once I got my license, you know, I remember I got sent to a job and I realized I didn't understand layout very well. You know, I knew code, I knew, you know, how to size pipe and how to put it in so that, you know, it doesn't, you know, get screwed up or whatever. But I didn't realize how to do layout very well. And I didn't, I wasn't the best plan reader, you know? So I thought, you know, okay, well, how do you
do it? Yeah.
Well, you go into the plan room and you grab a big old arm, you know.
I remember you coming in.
Go underneath.
Grabbing plans.
It's just like, okay, well, how does this work? And that's on that detail. And so, and I wanted to be really good at groundworks.
Yeah.
It was like commercial groundworks at the time were like, if you could find a guy that could do commercial groundworks, it was like, he was like, you just paid him whatever you had to.
Yeah.
You know, because it was so important to make money, you know, to get out of the ground. And so I was like, well, I want to be like that, you know? And so just the hard work. And that was, we had a good team. I mean, we had people there, and we had a good, we delivered a really good product. We used the best plumbing parts. We always, you know, put in quality fixtures. If we made a mistake,
always meet schedules.
Always made the schedule. If we had, I mean, I remember there's something that we warranted. It was like 7 years old for like some Fisher & Sons job that it was a thing that leaked. It's like, it should never have leaked.
Right.
And we warranted it.
Yeah.
You know, so I had that going for me. Wasn't like I was in a crappy company. You know, the company was a good company with good. We hired winners. Yeah. You know, so I mean, we had a few along the way that
we could have got rid of.
But I
Few
was
that
like,
tested us.
yeah, and I learned from some really good plumbers. We had a couple guys that were very intense and maybe even difficult personality-wise.
Just to say the least.
But they were
good.
primo plumbers,
Yeah.
and they knew their shit, and they were smart, and they just executed every time.
And
I was like, I was like, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
That's how I want to
without the attitude, right?
Yeah, except for I want to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
So
you go from the bottom of the barrel to the top of the barrel.
Yep.
And then do you remember when your dad came to you
Yes.
and said,
Yeah.
I'm going to retire?
Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
There was a couple conversations, but I remember, I remember that.
So your dad,
I was scared of that.
for the audience, like I said earlier, is I became partners with his dad, and there was never any intent for Oly to come into the business. Well, after seeing Oly change his life and take it, and really take the bull by the horns and just go from the bottom to the top, and we both watched it. I watched it, your dad watched it, and he came to me and said, "Hey, I know I don't have anything in the contract for Oly to become an owner, but I would like to be able to give him that opportunity." And I said, "Hell yes."
Yeah, no, that was huge. I was scared of doing it. I was very comfortable with, my ability to do what all these things out in the operation side, so to speak. And I was worried about Kelly. I mean, I didn't think that Kelly I didn't think he'd want to be a business partner with me.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd want that. And I just didn't want to be forced. Because obviously my dad's my, your mentor and everything. And, here my dad's like force feeding you on, hey, I got my son over here.
And actually,
could you really?
And actually, he didn't. It was completely opposite. He came to me and said, "I would like to do this, but it's your choice."
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, "Absolutely." And then when he came back and told me that you said no,
you're like, "What is wrong with this?"
I went to work on you.
No, I remember we had multiple conversations.
It took about 6 months for you to finally say yes, didn't it?
Yeah, it did take a while.
Yeah.
It did take a while. It seems like it was a long time ago, dude. I got to be honest with you.
It was 2002.
Crazy. Dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
It was a few years ago.
It was, yeah.
And what did I say to you?
I don't remember.
I said the same thing your dad said to me.
What's that?
You work with me and for me, and I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
And your dad said the same thing to me, and your dad did.
Yeah.
He took care of me.
No, what we had, our business relationship, we did have a couple, there was a couple times.
We had some ups and downs.
I think we stood off, we went toe to toe. I was ready to punch you, and you
probably more than once.
And you were ready to punch me, and I'm like,
yeah,
this is obviously going to change things forever.
Probably more than once, but
it happened.
We'll get into that a little bit later. We got some other stuff I'd like to talk about first.
But I don't know.
So
is this the part where you talk about my ADD?
Well, yeah, we can talk about that too. But
I have that.
You go from the bottom of the board to the top of the board. You become a partner.
Yeah.
And things are going pretty good.
Oh man, things are going great.
Things are going well.
You're
doing well.
We're making money. The economy's kicking. Okay.
Economy's going.
Okay. That's.
Yeah.
There's always that.
And at home, you become debt free.
Right. Became debt free. And that's what I wanted to say. I think I wanted to say earlier just that it was our partnership.
Yeah.
And eventually, Brad coming into
right.
We had an amazing trust.
We did.
It was perfect. I knew that I could trust you with my bank account. I knew that, we always had each other's backs.
We did.
Even when we wanted to punch each other in the face.
Yeah.
We still, and we had this, company. And I learned so many good things. I mean, in that time, I'm learning how to, to bid jobs and to run work and be a project manager on a much higher level and stuff like that. So anyhow, I'm sorry.
That's all right. But you went through some other tough times.
Yeah.
You did.
At home.
At home. You went through some tough times and you had some major changes there.
Yeah.
And, if you want to find out about that, you're going to have to tune into the next episode.
Stay tuned.
We're going to cut this one and we'll be back for more.
Cool.